Okay, good morning. So it's been how many weeks since we met last time? 5 days. Or less.
So
Few
much.
days, right? What's that?
You miss me so much.
Oh yes, I miss you guys all. And now we have a smaller group because the spies that I had on the tables. So all the faculty members, you probably on the symposium you found out who was the faculty maybe. But we had about 5 faculty members who left on 24th or 25th, and they were so happy to be with in the same group with all of you, and they really told me that they really enjoyed it, and they said they're going to send more people next year. So, and actually our plan is to do this at their places from 2017. So if you're interested, we might recruit some of you to come with us to their places, like Ahmedabad or Thai or these places like that. So it's going to be interesting. And we have a reduced size team because now we had SFC people, more SFC people here, but now we have less of them too. So I guess the total number we have is about 40, which is more manageable, more easy for me. And I think you have more room now. Okay, that's good. And welcome back. And here's the chat that I want to start. Okay, are you seeing the world differently now? So now you've been thinking about what's innovative about this thing here, or I don't know, maybe what's the value is this thing creating? Who's seeing the world like that? Who's seeing the world in different eyes now? Kind of? Yes. Please do it. Otherwise, I don't know about you, but don't think all of a sudden one day you become innovator. No. If you're that one, then you are already and you're not here. Like I said, if you're a genius, you're not here. You're here because you're not. But you can learn, or you can teach yourself to become an innovator. So that's what I've been telling you. So please try to look around and try to become one. Okay? Look around, look at the product, look at the service, look at the ads, right? And then think, okay, what is this new value creating? Or, I don't know, what's the innovativeness? If I had to pitch this product to a millionaire, what would I say? Okay? Do that every day. On your way in, somewhere on your way out on the train, you can do this anywhere. You can practice this anytime. So please start doing it. Then it'll make changes. It'll make changes inside of you. Okay? Alright, good. And, okay, so today, this is where we're here. And thanks for showing up to the forum. Was it fun? Yeah? A lot of very interesting discussion, and you're probably seeing a lot of countries and a lot of areas in the world, especially this Southeast Asia or South Asia, is trying very similar thing. And you probably noticed that all the programs that was introduced was only 2 or at least like 5-year-old, right? Very, very similar to what we're doing here too. So that's why we wanted to get them here and then discuss with us. So so that we can share pains and talk about the future visions. So I hope all of you enjoyed, and we really enjoyed, and all the presenters really enjoyed it. So thanks for showing up. And today we are talking about prototyping and testing. And so this is, like I said in the very first day, this isn't anything parallel to design thinking and system thinking, business thinking, because these 3 are almost like our pillars, like 3 main pillars for our program. So You know, you need to think like a designer. You need to see things as a system and design things as a system. And you need to try to, try to synthesize, try to design the business around it, right? So those are the three pillars. And today, this is almost like a side note to every single pillars. So prototyping testing can be done in design thinking mode, or prototyping thinking can be utilizing the system thinking approaches. And of course, prototyping testing is now often referred in the business synthesis as a minimum viable product, MVP. So these are all connected. So prototyping testing is almost like essential side note to all of these three pillars. So that's how I'm going to talk today. And the key word is this: do while thinking and think while doing. Okay? And then the other one is build to think and test to learn. These are both taken from, I think it's from IDEO school or design thinking folks. But I think this is, this is very, it's really to the point. Okay? And you think you're doing this, right? But I don't think so. This is hard. Okay, I want to see hands, okay? How many of you here inside this room are designer? You claim yourself a designer, or you're trying to become a designer. Okay, all right, okay, thank you. How many of you here inside this room who is an engineer, or who claims you are an engineer, or who you want to become an engineer? Okay. And how many of you think you are, okay, who says, I'm not creative, I'm not typed like an engineer. I'm not either of those. Okay, good, all right, good, all right. So, if you have some kind of experience of creating something, or designing something, or engineering something, then you probably have some sense of this, but it's still very difficult, even though you're practitioner, engineering in practice, but sometimes it's very difficult, because I see this a lot, okay? You think, and do. These are all separate or independent. I see that a lot. But no, that's not what we're talking about today. Like I said, do while thinking and think while doing is the point. All right? So it happens simultaneously. Okay? It's not like process. You think and then do, and you're not doing while thinking, or you're not thinking while doing. No, not that. Okay? And of course, I see this a lot too. Build to build. So meaning you're just building it, and you test to check whether it's working or not. Okay? No, it's very different from what I showed you, right? Think to build, and then test to learn. It's very different from this. So it's not build to build. You need to, you're building to think. Okay? It helps you. Building helps you to think more. That's the point. And then test is to learn more. All right? And I know you think this is so easy. Okay? So the later half today, in the morning session, I'll be telling you over and over the same thing from different aspects. But in the afternoon, you need to do it. Okay? And you'll probably learn, oh, okay, that stuff that he was talking about was kind of tough to do. Okay? So that's the thing. Alright, so on day one, this is what I talked about. I gave you a brief introduction on the prototyping and testing. Just one slide. So prototyping testing as an important activity to find a true value that you want to focus. It's very important that this is a very early stage in your design process, and you want to do this as early as possible. I think it's so obvious to do this when you are later in the process, right? If you have a drawing, and if you already have done some prototyping, and you know what you're doing, and then your prototyping means very different. But we're talking today about a very, 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 very early stage prototyping. Okay? So that's something I want all of you to have it in mind. It's not about prototyping in the later process, but very early process. Okay? And prototyping should always be followed by testing. And not just testing the prototype itself, but testing whether value can be created by this prototype is the key. So these are two things that I told you. And do you remember day 2 material? I talked about prototyping. You kind of did the fake prototyping plans. Okay. So in that slide, I said, is it a mock-up or is it an engineering model? Both are not true. I mean, these are called prototypes often, but here in the very early stage prototyping or design thinking prototyping, it says the prototype mode is an iterative generation of artifacts intended to answer questions that get you closer to your final solution. Okay, so it's created so that it gets you to your final solution by answering some of the questions you have. And prototyping is built to answer your questions, so that's obvious. And this is kind of a reminder. You don't have to get stuck with this concept, but I think it's a very good key concept. You should have it in your mind all the time, even though you're not thinking about prototyping or testing. It's just quite useful. There are 2 types of checking in the world. Okay, 2 types of checking things in the world. Okay, one type of checking is, look at the quote here. Are we doing the thing right? Question. Okay, you're checking, are we doing the thing right? So that's called verification in the world called system engineering. And here's another type of checking, is asking yourself, are we doing the right thing? Okay. Which one do you like to check first? Which one do you want to check first? Do you want to check whether you're doing the thing right? Or do you want to check you're doing the right thing? Right, why?
Because if we are doing not the right thing with the right ways, it's not good anymore.
Exactly. It's obvious. You might be doing the wrong thing the right way. Okay? It happens. Who has done this before? Who has done wrong thing in a right way? You? Okay, what was your name? Sorry, I missed your name.
Sasha.
Sasha. Okay, tell me about your experience. Do you have a microphone? Can someone run this? Is it on? The bottom. Yeah, it'll turn on. Okay.
I'm a software developer and I think I'm doing it all the time, so I'm using the right tools, but every day I can do the wrong things and understand it only in a week, in a month, or even later.
Yeah, software. Thank you. Thanks for sharing your sad story. But yes, software. This can happen so often because you write code, right? You write code and codes are running. You see things moving, but at the very end of spending a month, you find out, hey, this is not what I wanted, right? Because all your codes are good, all correct. So you're doing the thing right, but you were totally doing the wrong thing. So that happens. Who else? Who else other than software engineers? Okay, I know. Tell us your sad story.
Well, we were designing furniture for schools.
Okay.
So we were based on the design process, and we started sketching, and we started doing mock-ups, and we present that to our client and to our professors at that time. And then we make a functional prototype, and we send it to the kids. And the kids hate it. And what was interesting of this school is that it's a school with the parents and the kids have lunch together.
Okay.
So that means they are related with the furniture as well.
Okay.
And the parents hate it.
Okay.
So they said, actually, if we want to have lunch with our kids, we prefer no furniture. So that means we have to go back into the process and start having more observation and having more a conversation with the parents and kids to see what is the way to reach a sweet spot between teachers at the school,
yes.
Parents and kids. We made it a really interesting project.
How long you spent creating and designing everything?
Well, with our happy process at the beginning, we spent
Yes.
about 3 months.
Okay.
And then to realize that we were wrong, it took us probably a week.
Okay.
And then to do everything again, it took us probably another 3 months.
Okay, right. Thank you. I think that's very typical in any design or engineering project. Okay, you think you are doing the right thing, but at the very end, you find out, oh no, this is not it. But you spent all your time and resource doing the wrong thing the right way. Okay, so for those who have not done any design process or engineering or creation process, you don't think this will happen, right? You would think, nah, that's impossible because you gotta be doing the right thing, but this can happen. All right. So I hope some of you can maybe get that experience today. That to do the right thing is not so easy. Not so easy. Even though everyone probably answers, yes, we should check this first. But it's very, very difficult. And do you remember me showing you this video? Yeah? So those who did not see it on the second day. So this is a video by IDEO, right? And then IDEO was very smart about how they can check whether doing the right thing. Okay, so actually this was IDEO's project with Sesame Street. Okay, with the Sesame Street, and then Sesame Street asked them to come up with some innovative or new app for kids. So what IDEO did was instead of writing any code for any interface or anything, they just shot a bunch of video like this, and then showed it to the clients. Okay, and then it was very beginning, very early stage in their design process that they did it, so that they know which one people who's making decisions or maybe kids like it. Okay, which is very, very clever, very clever. Okay, but it seems so simple if you see it, but if you're in the project, it's very difficult to come up with something like this. So I think it's very creative that they found this out, the way they tested this. All right? So I think I made you read this, okay? But today I'm going to go over some of the pages that I really want you to be focusing on, because prototyping testing the concept itself is very simple, okay? Test early. That's all it says, right? I think everything you read was very clear to you. No one was probably confused what it says in the book, right? It's very clear. It's easy English. It's very easy to understand. But it's a concept. It's or the mindset that's embedded inside that text is kind of important to point out. So let me help you to kind of walk you through. So let's talk about prototyping. So this is what it looks like when they shoot their video. Okay, so it's very simple. You have this, the form cut out, and then you don't even have the video camera, right? It's just the camera that's on the Mac was used for shooting that prototype. So it's very handy. It's very on hands-on. So that's the attitude you should probably have. And this is from Introduction to Design Thinking, process guide, and it starts from what is a prototyping. So let me kind of read it and then also paraphrase. Prototype mode is the iterative generation of artifacts intended to answer questions that gets you closer to the final solution. So this is the code that I took, and then so I want you to pay attention here. Low resolution prototype that are quick and cheap to make. Okay, that's another key. That's a really good key. And so, but I really like how they use their words. Low resolution prototype. Okay, so does everyone understand what low resolution means? Yeah? 低解像度。日本語でね、低解像度。So it's not about you just focusing on one small area, right? It's different. It's low resolution, but still trying to understand the whole picture. You see? So it's not just you trying to focus on one little thing of whatever you're trying to create. Instead, it's a low resolution, but you're still trying to understand or grasp the whole concept. So, making a low resolution prototype and then a very small portion of a final solution prototype is totally different. Do you understand? This is quite important that, okay, you need to think, is it a low resolution or is it just a part of my solution prototype? So I think that's a very careful way they use this language of low resolution instead of just, the portional or, partial prototype. I think it's clever. And then in later stages, so they talked about prototyping in the design process. In the later stages, both your prototype and question you may ask get a little more refined. Okay, so that gets you a higher resolution question and of course higher resolution prototyping. So don't try today when you're don't try to answer the final question. All right, no, that's not possible. So you have to think, what will be the low resolution question I should be asking to myself today? Okay, and also what can be my low resolution prototype that I can do today? Okay, so maybe many of you may tend to think that you need to ask the very final question and try to answer with the low resolution prototype or partial prototype. No. Your question refines, as you move along the design process. All right. So in this example, so their low resolution question was, do my users enjoy cooking in a competitive manner? That was their low resolution question they started out. And at the later process, do my users enjoy cooking with voice commands or visual commands? So I know I don't see any context, related to this, but you see that how their question got more specific and little high resolution. So you should probably be thinking about how can you ask yourself a low resolution but still to the point question. And here, so they talk about prototype and then bring out more emotions and responses from the person. So this is the key. So you want to create your prototype so that it will bring out more emotions and responses from the person or when you're testing. I'm gonna get to this when we talk about testing, but this is quite important that you understand. So keyword here is low resolution, and then you refine as your process goes on. And of course, you probably saw why prototype. And here, I think it's easy to go to the bootcamp reference. So this is the same why prototype page not from the design thinking process guide, but from the bootcamp bootleg. If you have one with you, please open to the page, page prototype of the bootcamp bootleg. So here, again, it talks about why you should prototype. And traditionally, this is important. Traditionally, prototyping is thought of a way to test functionality. I think many of you here in this room thinks that prototype has to be functional. Okay? So, meaning, for example, what should I do? Okay, if I want to prototype this is a speaker. Okay, if I want to prototype, let's say this team was as a project team to create this in both. Okay? And so if I'm going to do a prototyping for this in an early stage in a project, you might think it has to make sound. Right? You might think it has to, be able to play music or play sound. Otherwise, what am I prototyping? Okay? That's maybe typical response you might have. But that's not it. Okay? That's not the prototyping we're talking about here. So that's one sentence it's here. Traditionally, prototyping is thought as a way to test functionality. So the main functionality of this guy is to play sound, right? Off of the computer or whatever. But here, prototyping is used for many reasons, including these non-mutually exclusive. There are non-mutually exclusive categories. And therefore, empathy gaining, exploration, testing, and inspiration. Okay? Not the functionality, but these. For example, if I were going to create this, Okay? And then we were in the very early stage in design process. What I can do, one possibility, I will check. I'll make, something like this with a, I don't know, maybe a wood or something, and make it in a slightly different sizes and slightly different weights. Okay? And I'll have people come in and carry around as if they have a speaker in their hands, and ask them what size do you think is more better for your use case. For example, my case, I need to take this down from upstairs here every time I have a lecture. So I wanted this to be a little bit more easy to carry because it doesn't have any handle, it doesn't have anything. So it's kind of heavy. Of course, they want it to be stable, so it's kind of heavy and it doesn't have any handle. So for me, it's a little hard to carry around. But of course, you can tell it from the form, this is meant to be carried around. It's not like that, right? It's not like this. It's not like this. If you wanted to have a set up, speaker, then you should design something like that. But this is meant to be carried around. So I would probably try prototyping the size and weights. Not functional at all, but I will have my clients or possible clients to try to carry this around as if it was a real speaker and ask them, what do you think? Or I'll see them, how they manage this or how they deal with this. So that's non-functional prototype, but still I can learn a lot about my user, right? So that's the one attitude that you should probably keep in your mind. I think it's safe to say in the very early stage of prototyping, it's often non-functional. But still, it's empathy gaining. So prototype is a tool to deepen your understanding of a design space and your user, even at the pre-solution phase of your project. So you don't even know what you're creating, but you can still prototype and try to understand what people really want. Okay, that's quite important. Maybe this is something you may be doing end up today. An exploration, build to think, develop multiple solution options, and of course you can do it for testing and inspiration. And here's more of prototyping purposes. You can do it to learn, or you can do it to solve disagreement. This is also quite interesting. Did you see in your the bootcamp bootleg? I think it was page. It says prototype to decide. I think prototype to decide. Yes, prototype to decide is page 36. Who has done this before? Prototype to decide in the page 36. So basically, what this is telling you is, okay, you have three choices of your design, and this is typical. Okay, maybe I'm wrong, or this is typical Japanese way to proceed. Okay, you have three choices to think about. Then you'll choose one and build, right? But here, what it says is, if you have three choices that you want to go for, maybe you're thinking about or you're still not deciding, then why don't you build three, and then see which one is good. Okay? But you may say, hey, no, I don't have time for building three. Then, I don't think it was clearly referred there, but if you think you don't have time for three prototype, then make it even lower resolution for each prototype and still make three. Okay? Spend less time on one prototype, but still make three prototypes for each solution. So that's the attitude, okay? That's the attitude. So let me ask you again, who has done maybe prototype to decide, prototype for a decision? Before you decide, you start creating and try to decide. Anybody? Do you want to share a story? What was your name? You? Okay, yeah. See, I started to pick up names. Good.
This is just a recent story.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, I made a kind of prototype
Yes.
for. I'm working for finance,
Okay.
and I'm looking after personal expense and general expense now.
Okay.
So, my CFO asked me to make up some report.
Okay.
It is easy to analyze, by division or by cost center or something.
Okay.
So I made just a prototype.
Okay.
There's no data,
Okay.
just a simple, how to say, kind of table and how
Okay.
to analyze it.
But numbers are all
Nothing.
fake. Okay.
And just I show it to CFO, then he's pointed at something
Okay.
to add.
Okay.
Then I just created again.
Okay. Did you have like different versions or different types?
No,
To
just
show you
one.
Just one type.
Just one time.
Okay, but still, you wanted to go or no go. So
Yeah.
okay, even you make a decision, you created a prototype.
Yes.
Good, good. Who have done multiple prototypes before you made a decision? Ivan, okay, maybe you might have a lot of different experience on this. Can you share us?
Yeah, there are many cases like that. One very simple is we were designing the new generation of printers that are coming probably in 5 or 10 years.
Yes.
And we wanted to change the way to take the paper after printing. So you need to redesign the whole tray.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did was we redesigned, so we made different prototypes of the surface, the flat surface when you take the paper, and we send it to engineers, we send it to marketers, we send it to users, to real users, and ask them, how will you take the paper out from the printer? So we analyze the way they hold the paper, the way they take it out of the paper, the way they feed the printer. We take pictures and we kind of like start doing like a registration of that, and based on that we show to different clients and said, this could be the right way to go. But so the idea was to make different prototypes of that specific piece.
Okay, I see. Okay, I think this is more, of course it's more common in the design field. In engineering, not so much, because if you're an engineer, the money you're spending on one prototype is huge. Yeah, it's like millions of yens and billions of yens. So, but this is the attitude that I really want you to have. If you get confused which one to choose, build everything. Okay? And don't say, I don't have time to build 3. Then spend less time on one prototype. Do whatever you can do in 15 minutes. Okay? So for example, if you have 1 hour, okay, if you have 1 hour to go and you have 3 choices, or let's make your math easy, 4 choices. Okay? Instead of you thinking, try to choose 1 out of 4 choices and then spend 1 hour prototyping, what I'm saying is spend 15 minutes each and build prototype for 4 ideas. Okay? That's what I'm saying. Okay? So you kind of need to push yourself towards that bias. Okay, I am actually doing it before I try to make decision or try to think about it. So that's the great bias I want you to try to have for today. Okay? And I know I am very much emphasizing to do it, but it really depends on what context you are. If you're doing nuclear physics, don't try. Okay? Don't do it, before you do it, you need to think. If you're doing nuclear physics, please do think before you do anything. But if you're working on, I don't know, maybe, papers or wood, then you're okay. If you're building a huge building, you probably want to do a little more thinking before you doing, right? So it really depends on your context. However, there are so many, different ways that you can start doing things, even in the difficult context. Okay, so don't get me wrong that if you're like a physician and before you do your surgery you start doing you should probably think very well before you do it. But if you're just planning your surgery, then you can start probably doing a few things and see what comes out before you start thinking. So you probably need to put in your context. So don't forget that. And here's how. Here's how to prototype. So this is also, again, going back to the design process guide, this one. So, on the how, on the very first line, it says start building. Okay? There is no how. Just, start doing it. So that's the thing. But, don't spend too long on one prototype. So this is the same thing that I just told you. And then identify a variable. So while you're doing, so this is the part it gets, you need to think while doing. While you're creating something, you need to start to understand, oh, okay, so this is the key, probably. this is the key thing or key number or key parameter that I should be probably focusing. Maybe I never thought about the weight, but maybe I should be focusing on the weight too. For example, for my case, okay, what if I was so concerned on the size, I just forgot about the weight when I prototyped, the first prototype. What if I just made this out of a very light material and just never cared about weight, then I probably missed a few points because I wanted to see how user interact with it, because you'll be amazed how heavy this thing is. It's heavier than you look, right? Yes, it may be twice as heavy as you think, because because it has some the metal piece that inside, so it's more stable, it makes more sound. So you need to start to understand why you're creating this. Because you're thinking about your final solution at the same time, you need to move your brain so that it will try to find for what you should be looking for. Okay, this is kind of hard, but you'll probably experience this. And build with the user in mind, like I said. So you're building it, but you're building for purpose. Okay, at the end, your solution will be used by somebody. So you kind of need to have that imagination going on all the time you're prototyping. Okay, so I know it's very simple, but I really wanted you to give you a little push towards this bias. And this is the important part, one of the important parts of the design thinking process guide. So at the right-hand bottom, it has a transition of prototyping to testing. Okay, and here it says what you are trying to test and how you are going to test. That aspect are critically important to consider before you create a prototype. Okay, so it's kind of I won't say it's there's a conflict or there's but in the page here it says start building, but here it says think about how you test. So it's it's kind of that, but you need to understand this. So don't focus too much on just building, because building is not the point. You want to test this. Okay, you need to test this to understand or to learn what you've been building or what you're building for. So you need to be thinking how you're testing, how you're going to test. And then here, this is another part. Often the most informative results will be a product of a careful thinking about how to test in a way that will let users give you the most natural and honest feedback. Right? So this is a bad example of prototyping. Okay, you prototype this and you give it to your user and ask, do you like it? What do you think he or she would say? Okay, I'm from, very famous brand Bose. Okay? And if you found out that I'm from Bose and you're like selected users, randomly selected users. Okay? So now you're in the 10 a.m. in the Sunday morning for Bose focus group. Okay, what do you expect to say? I mean, okay, what do you think this new product? You will say, oh, this is great. I mean, I like it, but slightly too heavy, right? You start saying those crazy things because in your mind you're thinking you're like half expert, but don't ask. Okay, you really want to get the natural and honest feedback. Okay, do you remember me talking about interview? Yeah? You will never get honest feedback.
Yeah, I think that here in Japan it's harder.
Oh yeah.
But outside it's not so hard.
Okay.
Because people tell the truth. They
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but your name is
I-
Maria, right?
Yeah.
Maria. But this stuff is from California. Okay? Even California people are saying this. So I need to exaggerate maybe 10 times more in Japan. So yeah, don't get me wrong. This isn't written in Japanese. This is written by people who lives in Palo Alto. So that's hard. That's the level of hardness that we're talking about. Yeah.
And I was wondering also, because here the quality of everything is so good that if you prototype something, they will look and say, what?
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about this crap.
Exactly. Did you get what she said? Everything we have here, around here, is very high quality manufacture, right? Even though if you go into, the dollar shop, everything you see is so high quality. So whatever you create with your hand, or bare hand, looks very, not so cute, right? So you want to be very, smart about what you show them, or let them experience. Okay, so but yeah, today I'm going to introduce you to the design lab downstairs. But all those tools can help you to make your prototype look prettier, right? But you don't start using those until you have a little more idea about what you're doing. So yeah. But okay, did you understand the point of prototyping? And I know you would say yes, but it's hard when you do it. I'll see you doing it this afternoon, so yeah, look forward to it. Okay, now enough about prototyping. Now I'm going to talk about testing. So this is a photo from, again, I was a mechanical engineering student at the University of Minnesota, and this was my senior design project. So we were basically creating robotic arm, kind of something like a robotic arm, okay? Yeah, we were just, bachelor students. So for the electric wheelchair guy, this guy's Jeff. Oh my God, we made him mad so many times because we hooked this thing up directly to his wheelchair and we burned his circuit board twice. Yes, but we became, at the very end, we became a very good friend, and that hand is me. Okay, so we were trying to create the robotic arm for him so that it can be used in his home. Okay, and so that's me and testing at his place at some point in the project. Oops. So testing is very important because otherwise, so that's him trying to pour the Mountain Dew and of course failing, right? So we had to tweak around the controller and we had to we had to make changes on our mechanical design and everything. But that's when you learn, what needs to be done. Okay, now you really want me to show you the video here. So, of course, this is more engineering prototyping, but we were lucky. This isn't like Jaime's project. We were better, so we did this in an early phase. Okay, we did this in a month into the project, and we end up being able to pour the Mountain Dew at the end. So it was good. But we never learned this. Otherwise, unless we tested this. And like a few minutes after this, we burned his circuit boards. Yeah, it was fun. It was a good time. Okay, yeah, you can turn it off. Yeah. So this is the description on the test mode. So don't reduce your testing work to ask whether or not people like your solution. Okay? So when you're testing, don't just ask them. Okay? Don't ask them. Instead, you need to observe. You need to observe, or you need to, maybe record some things, but not just ask them. Don't. Okay? So here, you need to continue to ask why and focus on what you can learn about the person and then the problem, as well as your potential solutions. So this is also important. Okay, when you spend a week or hours to create this prototype, then when you start testing, your focus or your baby is that product, right? So you're not actually looking at the guy using it or the problem that he's trying to solve. You're kind of looking at your baby too much. Okay? But don't. I know. Okay. You seem so bored today, but it's very difficult when you start doing this. And I think all the engineering people here or designer people or who has some kind of creation experience can understand this. Because you've been spending so many hours and resources into your baby, and you see your baby walking, right? You're not looking at anything but your baby, right? But that's not the point. That's not the point. So maybe Sasha might be looking at his code, not creating any bug or creating crazy number. What he should be looking at is the face of the person who's using the software. Not the icons or not the laptop itself. He has to be looking at the face of the guy who's using his software. Okay? So that's what it says here. So don't focus too much on your baby. Instead, look at the person or look at the context, what he or she is in, the problem. Okay? So sometimes it's hard, but you really need to, make the bias towards that. And ideally, you can test within a real context of the user's life. So, okay, this is again, I know you may think, oh yes, of course, right? But, make it as real context as possible. If you're trying to create, I don't know, something that, intended to be used in the kitchen, go to kitchen. Okay, don't say, hey, let's pretend this is a kitchen. No, don't do that. Because in the kitchen, you have water, you have a lot of other things laying around, and then, only the real context can teach you what really needs to be done. Okay, if you think you are building something that's intended to be used in a certain context, go. Okay? I know all of you think, oh yeah, of course. But if you're professional, I think this is the tendency in the professional field. Professional thinks they know everything. Like for us, like car manufacturers, I used to work for Honda. We pretend to know everything about what we're doing. So we're like, oh yeah, I know how this motorcycle being used and blah blah blah. But it turned out to be we don't, right? There's so many aspects that we're missing. So that's the attitude I really want you to have. Okay. For example, how many of you use smartphone in the toilet? Be honest. I want to see all hands up. Yes. I'm pretty sure it's 99%, right? And do you know which hand you're holding your smartphone when you are sitting on the toilet? Do you know? Yes? Right or left, right? Okay. But do you know specifically when do you take out your smartphone? Meaning, is it before you open the door? Or are you completely sat down and then you take out? Or is your pants up or down when you take out your smartphone? Can you recall specifically? I think there are many of you thinking, I don't know, right? But you think you know. So this is example from last year. One team, I don't know why, one team was so concerned about toilet. Okay? And then so last year from the Edge team, okay? There was a team of 5 guys. They were so fascinated about, trying to do something about the toilet. Okay, long story short. So, and they were talking about toilet and how it should be creative and how it should be fun and everything. And, they were talking about how smartphone can be used in the toilet and blah, blah, blah. And they had this smartphone app idea of doing something, okay? And I asked, okay, that's fine. So, when do you have your smartphone out? I asked them the question. They were like, oh yeah, I have it when I open the door. And the different guy said, oh, I pull it out when I'm completely sat. Okay? So we went. Okay? We went up into that toilet, and all of us was just looking at from the above, and we made one guy, because it was all guys here. Okay? So we made one guy to actually, pretend. He wasn't really doing it, but I asked him to pretend that he was really coming into the toilet. And that was the first time, that's only when we found out he took it out when his pants was all down. He was amazed by himself. I never knew this. So you think you know what you're doing, right? Because it's you. But you're not paying attention. You're not really paying attention to whatever you're doing or whatever your customer may be doing. So that's when things get interesting. So when you learn something new in a thing thing like that, you think you know it, but when you start learning new things on a daily things, that's when it gets really, really interesting. So I want you to try something like that to find out a new aspect. So, okay, this is the real context part. And then the rule of thumb. So it's a very important rule. Rule of thumb. How do I translate that to Japanese? Rule of thumb. 一番大事なこと Maybe. なんかやるべき、フォローするべきルールみたいな。Rule of thumb. Always prototype as if you know you were right, but test as if you know you're wrong. Okay, I think that's a good attitude to have. You need to have some kind of confidence when you're building, but you need to be doubting yourself. All right, am I going to the right direction? Okay, so that's the attitude that I really want you to try to have. So I'm talking about the testing part. Okay, so I want to continue a little bit more. So the why testing is, of course, one of the obvious reasons is to refine prototype and solutions, right? You probably have this in your mind. This is the first thing that comes in your head, that why you prototype or why you test is to refine prototype. But it's to learn about your user again. So it's not about your baby, but it's about somebody who's using your prototype is important. So you want to learn about him or her. So that's the something you really need to have it in your mind. And to refine your point of view. Okay? Point of view. It says, use refine, but sometimes you drastically need to change a point of view. For example, maybe the case that Jaime explained. He thought, this furniture or, this thing will help them. But it turned out the whole point of view was wrong, kind of. Right? Because some parents or the students said, no, we don't need any of this. Right? So the focus was a little off, right? Or point of view was a little off. So you need to have that in your mind. You're not refining prototype, but you might be learning about the user, or you might be changing your point of view. So you really need to keep that in your mind. Okay? And this is the how part. So here, and don't explain everything yet. So when you start testing this with your user, okay, don't show them, 5 pages of PowerPoint explaining what this is. Because whatever he or she will say after the test that was on the PowerPoint. Okay, don't give detailed explanation before you start. Give a brief introduction and let them start. Okay, so here. So another keyword, let your tester interpret the prototype. All right? So that's, I think, very, very important. And then create experience. So rather than an explanation that your user is evaluating, you want to give them the experience. So that's another important part. And then ask user to compare. Bring multiple prototypes. Because that way you get a little more honest or a little more natural feedback. Okay, don't just bring just one prototype. If you're going to talk to the user, potential user, or somebody that you don't know, then it's better to bring multiple prototypes. Okay, and here's my experience. I was prototyping this electric vehicle one day, and so we had two versions, but I lied. I have 3. Okay. I lied, there are 3 versions, but 2 versions were completely same, okay? But different color. One version was different. So, for real, there was just 2 versions. 2 were the same. And I had this so-called expert, okay, riding on my electric vehicles. I faked him, okay? I told him there are 3 versions, and he gave me the feedback, because he's the one to give me a feedback. But he said, okay, I like this one, but I don't like this one. And I like this one the best. Okay? But he was all confused that, he was pointing out, I don't like this one, and I like the best, but 2 same kind. So, you'll see. Then, I learned a lot of things, I learned a lot of things, I should not be trusting anybody. Or, but some engineering things, engineering aspects were found because of that. So it was really nice to have, few different versions. So that was my experience. So it's always nice to bring multiple prototypes, even though you're not testing with your users, okay? Even though you're testing by yourselves, I think it's nice to have multiple prototypes. Then you can compare. Then you can start to compare. So it's really good. So today, soon you'll be doing this, but try to have multiple prototypes so that you can kind of compare and start discussing. All right. And so today, if you are going to test with the user, please check the page of this bootcamp bootleg on 35. There's a testing with users page. So I'm not going to go through this, but there are quite important things that's written here. So here, maybe I will just point out the procedure. So on the very bottom of the page, it says procedures, and there's number 1 through 4. And it starts from, let your user experience the prototype. Okay? It says show, don't tell. All right? So you just show it to them. Don't explain the details. All right? Give them a brief introduction to your prototype and let them explore. Let them, do whatever they want to do. They'll probably break it. It's okay, right? It's okay. But you need to be looking at what they might do. All right? You need to look into or observe what they might do, or how they teach themselves, or how they learn what this product is about. So I think show, don't tell part of number 1 is quite important. All right? And then number 2, have them talk through their experience. So ask them to talk while they're doing something. So I think that's another good thing you can ask them to. And actively observe is number 3. Follow up with questions. So okay, this is quite important. If you're today, if you're trying to do this with your potential user, then you should have this in your mind, and you probably want to come back to this slide. Okay, so do while thinking and think while doing is the key. Okay, I'm just wrapping up. And building to think and test to learn is another key. All right? So I hope you will suffer this today. Because it's harder than you think. It's a lot harder than you think. Okay, you will soon be thinking and doing and thinking and doing. I know you will become like that. And I'm pretty sure you will be building to build and checking to test. Testing to check, okay? I know you will become in that mind, but don't forget this. I'll have it somewhere printed out so large so that you can see it every time you're walking around, because this is quite important, all right? So, okay, one last wrap up. As a wrap up, let me tell you this is my summary, okay? 4 types of prototyping and testing purpose. This is my version of, try to help you to guide you to the design thinking or early stage prototyping mode, okay? And I think this is more useful for those who's experienced in the traditional type prototyping. Okay, let me see hands. Who in this room thinks you're a little bit more comfortable with the traditional type prototyping? Traditional engineering type prototyping or traditional prototyping, you would say. Okay. If you're like engineer, or maybe, then you're a little bit more comfortable with traditional type prototyping. So here, I have this chart called knowns and unknowns. Okay? This is actually taken from this very famous speech by the Mr. Rumsfeld from the United States government a few years ago, but I'm just using it. Okay? So let me explain about this chart. Known, known, and known, unknown, and known, unknown, known, and unknown, unknown. This is we call it 2 by 2. So this area, you know what you know. You understand? I'll try to explain this in Japanese. I have a Japanese version for this because I know it's a little difficult to understand in second language. So, okay, this is you know what you know area, all right? And then this is you know what you don't know area. Yeah? Okay, I see people nodding. Okay, so you know that you're missing out something, right? And okay, this area, you don't know what you don't know. Okay, and then this part is you don't know what you know. So this is alpha. This is like something you've forgotten about. All right. So okay, here's different type of prototyping. Different types of prototyping. Here, you know what you know area. If you are prototyping for you know what you know, then it's to improve the precision of what you know or a quality of what you know. All right? So this is the prototyping. If you're aiming for this, then that's more of a traditional type prototyping. Okay? Okay, here, you know what you don't know. It is to find the ways to deal with your known unknowns. Okay? For example, you wanted to have something very light, okay, but you don't know how. Then you can start, finding the ways to make it lighter. But you know that you need to make it light, but you don't know how. That's almost you're trying to deal with known unknown. Okay? But here, this not going to happen so often, but to recall your unknown knowns. So this is something you have forgotten about. Because you don't know what you know. It's kind of weird, right? Kind of weird, but this is almost something that you have forgotten. So you can prototype for this as well. But our main focus for prototyping today is here. To learn unknown unknowns. To learn unknown. So this is something you never thought about. Okay? For example, if I were prototyping this, okay, this, something to carry my liquid. Just imagine. And I may be aware of, okay, I need to make this the top so it closes very well. Okay? I need to have a precision for lid to close very tight. That's known, right? I need to do that. And maybe I need to find out the way to, put the color on this thing. But I know that I need to put the color on this thing. So all I need to do is I need to look for the way to color this thing. Right? That's easy. That's known unknown. I don't know how right now, but I can look it up, probably. But what I really want to learn in a very early stage is that something I might be missing. Maybe I never thought about my user having this, in the bag and walking around with it. I never knew that. I never imagined that. So I want to learn something like that. Something that I never thought about. Thank you. Something that I never thought about. That's unknown. Learning unknown unknowns. So your prototyping for Keio Edge today is to learn your unknown unknowns. Alright? Because if you have known unknown, look it up. Ask experts. It can be solved. It's easy. Right? If you're unknown, if it's your known, spend some time to figure that out. That's easy. Okay? In the process, you will do this. But very early stage, you want to find out, this is your blind spot, so to say. This is your blind spot. You don't want to have a lot of blind spot in your project. Right? So you want to find that out and bring it to here. And at the very end, you'll bring it down to here. So that, kind of me trying to explain about prototyping in the process of design process. So, and then here's some, the key mindset for 4 types of different prototyping. So here is improvement, right? You're dealing with known. Here is an invention. You're trying to invent something to tackle your known unknown. Here, you need an insight. You need to go say, aha, I never knew that. I learned that, okay? I found my blind spot. So that's that mindset. I really want you to try to focus. So when you're prototyping today, try to focus somewhere around here. Okay? And I'm saying it because I'm pretty sure I'll see a bunch of you guys try to improve the precision or the quality. No. Okay? You're not in that stage. At the later stage, you will be doing this. but today, try to stay somewhere around here. Try, especially here. I want you to try to see the blind spot. Okay? Okay. 日本語バージョン。これ、ラムズフェルド国防長官が何年だったかな、2000何年だかにスピーチをしたときに、アメリカの、まあ、そんなんですかね、脅威を探すときに使った表なんですね。表という、まあ、スピーチで使った表。で、自分は知っているということを知っている。これまあ当然ですよね、当然。で、自分は知らないということを知っている。これ皆さん、例えば量子力学っていう言葉は知ってるけど、それ自分は知らないって知ってますよね。それを例えば知らないってことを知ってるってことですよね。で、自分は知らないっていうことすら知らないってことがあるわけです。これは危ないわけです。これ考えたこともないことっていう言い方ができるんですよ。考えたこともないこと。で、自分は知っているってことを知らない。これは忘れちゃったってやつですね、つまり。忘れちゃったっていうやつ。で、この4つの証言に対して、まあ、プロトタイピングをしているという言い方もできますよということで、例えば、精度や出来栄えなどを向上させるっていうのがここ。つまり、こうしなくちゃいけない、ああしなくちゃいけないってことが分かってるので、それをもうどんどんやっていくだけだと。そういうプロトタイプもできます。で、次多いのはここ。例えば、具現化の仕方とか、実現する方式を探索したり試したりすると。こうしなきゃいけないのは分かってるけど、やり方が分かんないと。そのためにプロトタイプしてみよう。これもできます。でも一番やらなくちゃいけないのはここです。ここ。そもそも意識してなくて見逃してしまっていることがないかを探すためにプロトタイプをしようということですね。自分は知らないってことを知らない、そんなことを考えてもみなかったっていうことを見つけるためにプロトタイプとテストをしましょうということなので、これなんでわざわざこんなことを言うかというと、皆さんほっとくと絶対ここやります。ほっとくとここを絶対やり始めるので、すごく意識してこの辺のプロトタイプをしようと思ってください。そうじゃないとですね、多分皆さんどんどんなんか日本人の癖なんでしょうね。みんなの人間国宝へ向かってものづくりを始めるんですよ。なんか必ずみんなここをですね、どんどん最高精度に詰めていこうとしちゃうんです。そうではなくて、それ全然見てなかった、全然知らなかったってことを探す、そのつもりでやってください。で、その時にそれぞれには多分キーワードをつけることができて、ここはまあインプルーブメントだな、でここはインベンション、できないことをできるようになろう。でもできないってことを知ってるので、分からないってことを知ってるので、それは自分の中でインベンションすればいいだけで、でもここなんですよね。そうかっていうこのインサイトですよねが大事ですよということです。で、言ったみたいにここにフォーカスしてねということです。Okay? 同じですね、日本語バージョン。So this is my version, my summary, trying to say the same thing, and I want you to try to focus. So maybe today, when you are creating prototype, or maybe you have an idea for prototype, try to look back into this chart and confirm your team is moving, trying here, somewhere around here, not here. Hey, maybe that's just an improvement. We can do it if we have good enough time. But instead, today I want you to try to focus here, to find out your blind spot. Okay? Easy to say, difficult to do. I'll see you guys doing in maybe in an hour. Okay. Enough me talking. Alright, so I will just, give you, we're good. So I'll give you a 15-minute break, but now, we're not meeting here after the break, we're meeting downstairs, okay? Downstairs, second floor, there's a room called Edge Lab. Okay, please come down to the Edge Lab, and the lab will probably be kind of crowded, but I think it's okay, it's fun. So please try to find your spot. Maybe some of you need to stand in the counter, okay? But there, once we're there, I'm going to give you some instruction of what we're doing for your prototyping today, okay? So let's you can leave the bags here. I mean, we'll have somebody staying here. Bring your minimal things, like, I don't know, maybe your file, maybe your, laptop. Well, you can come back and pick it up later. So come with your pens and notes and something like that. Okay? And I'll give you maybe 20-minute or 30-minute introduction to your prototyping assignment today, and I'll let you start. And before we take a break, I want to make a group of a good diversity. Or I was still wondering. I wanted to mix somebody with some kind of creation experience and those who have no experience. Or do you just want to go random? Maybe it's better if I mix. Okay. So I want to see hands. Okay. Who is a currently professional engineer or designer? Okay. All right. How many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. 10. How many do we have in this room, Victor, today? 40?
We have only 2 people missing.
Okay, so we have about 40. So we can do about 10 teams of 4. Okay. So okay. So those people. One more time. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 hands. You guys all should be in separate teams. Okay? I don't want 2 professionals fighting over whatever. Okay? So all of you need to be in the different teams. Okay? Alright, now different people. Who is currently those who raise hand now don't, okay? Okay, who are in the design or engineering schools right now? So you're not professional yet. Okay? Okay, I would consider you a professional, but no, please, I want to see hands. Alright? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, good. Okay, yeah. 1 each. Alright? You should not be in the same team. But I saw 12 people. So probably 1 or 2 teams will have lucky team will have 2. But I don't know if that's lucky or not. Okay? So all of that people should be in the separate teams. Okay? Students, one more time. Students of engineering or design. Okay? Look around and try not to be in the same team with these people. But there will be some overlap. Just 2 people overlapping, maybe. Okay, good. Who is in business marketing field? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11. Good. One more time. Okay, you are all in separate teams. Okay? Don't be in the same team. So, whenever you introduce yourself, try to be in different teams, okay? Okay, you guys are labeled as business or marketing people. Alright? Good. All the rest, do whatever you want to do. Because I think we have a good enough variety. Alright? So, first group is a professional engineers or designers. Okay? You all need to be in different groups. Okay? Alright, good. And the second team is the designing or engineering students. Okay? You all should be in different teams. Alright? And then the business or marketing people. Okay? Marketing, either student or professionals. Yes. Okay. Go in different teams. And all the rest, you can be in anywhere. So, please try to, when you're, okay, we can do it downstairs. Maybe it's better we do it here, now. Okay? Let's have a team of 4. Okay? And we will have probably 10 teams. Team of 4 or 5. But go for 4. And if we see some leftovers, then we'll assign leftovers. Right. More resource, then we will assign you more resource. Okay? So, I don't know how you're going to do this, but I'll give you, I don't know, let's take 10 minutes to create a team. Okay? Then we'll take a break. Alright? I'll give you 10 minutes. So, let's start from the engineering guys. One more time. So, engineering guys, okay. Please, how many tables do we have in this room? Do we have 10? 10. Okay. So engineering people move and then sit in the table. Okay. So please, I want to see hand. Okay. So this table is David. You need to move. Okay. You're good. Okay. So engineering professionals. Engineering professional. Engineering professional. Okay, you're good. So somebody in that table. Yeah. Okay, the lady. What was your name? Sorry.
Yuki.
Yuki. Can you move to the table? Maybe in the back. Yes. Good. So I want you to move to this table. Good. Good. You're good. Good. Okay. All right. Good. So now we have one professional engineer. You're responsible. You're a professional. No. But yeah, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. These folks, so they claim professional designer or engineers, may not help you. No, trust me. They are too much into the traditional prototyping mindset. Okay? So don't trust them. No, they're just part of your team. And those, even though I kind of, assigned you as a professional engineers or designers, you're not the leader, okay? You're not leading anybody. You're just somebody who's with that competency or just an experience, okay? And that experience can haunt you. Trust me. Yeah, so, okay. And let's go with the students, the engineering or designing students. Okay, one each in the table. Move, one each. If you see more than 2 hands, move. And I want to have less SDM people as possible in the team. I don't want to see 2 SDM persons. So, engineering students, engineering students or design students, move. Move to the proper table. I want somebody, oh wait, okay. Maybe, yeah? You think you're good? Okay, I don't want that to happen. So let's have, okay, Yoshi and Hiep switching around. How about that? And, Elham. Nope, that's not accepted. So let's have, let's see. Can I see design engineering students? Okay. Let's, what was your name? Ikumi? Okay, I want Ikumi and David do the switch. Good. Okay, good. All right. Now we're closer. And let's see hands from business, marketing, professional, or students. Okay. Business, marketing, professional, or students. If you see more than 3 hands in your table, please try to move. So, oh, nobody here? So, Powder, why don't you come over here? Okay. Okay. And no, 2 is okay. So I want to see hands. Sorry, I know your hand is getting tired, but no one's there. So somebody volunteer to move in, join that team. Okay. Yes, please. Okay. And we need somebody over there too. Is there any 2 people in the team? Okay. Yes, please. 1. Okay. Let's have yes. Okay. Good.
There's only 3 here.
No one there?
No. There's only 3 people here.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. So now, where is the table of 5 people? Table 5 people. Now, somebody in that table needs to move. Other than professional engineers, other than the students of engineering or design, or business or marketing people. So somebody in that table needs to move to the table 3. So for here, for example, this. Okay, yeah, that's good. For somebody, can somebody move? Okay. Okay. So somebody in this table needs to go. Doesn't mean they don't need you, but it means you're important somewhere else. Okay. Ja, let's have Majia. Where's a team of 3?
Here.
Okay, here. You can, from Majia, you can join them. You got medical person. You're lucky. Okay. Where is the team of 5? Okay, there. And okay, we have, I think, more than less than I expected. That's good. Okay, I want somebody in this team to move into team of either that one or that one. Or okay, we have 2 teams that are 3. Okay. Well, I can do 5.
Maybe they come here to make
Yeah, let's do 5 then. How about どうしようかな. You know, I want to make the things interesting as possible, right? So, okay, team of 3 is fine. Okay, I want somebody in this team. Who's going to move? Either of Maria or what's your name? Sorry. Yumi, right? I guess. Yeah. Okay, let's have Maria moving. Okay, I want you to be in. Let's see. Anybody who doesn't have the female? Okay. No, you do. Let's. Why don't you join team over there? Okay, good. All right. Problem solved. Yeah. But I don't care whether you like it or not. Problem solved. I think you're good. Okay. This is me, us doing this for the first time, intentionally divided into teams. But I wanted to do this because there will be teams who are a little bit better in building stuff, a little more experienced in doing things, and there will be teams that are a little less experienced in building stuff. And that's fine. That's totally fine. It's not about how you build, okay? It's about how you think. All right, and do. So, good. All right, so let's take a 15-minute break, and then at the downstairs, the room downstairs, I'll try to explain about your exercise. All right, and just a friendly reminder, the first assignment you'll be doing is give your team an awesome teamwork. Okay, so that's the first assignment you'll be doing. All right, so I'll meet you 10 after 11. I'll meet you all 10 after 11 at 2nd floor. Get the minimum you need. All right, because the room downstairs is not so big. It's gonna be a little packed, but that's okay. It's gonna be a short introduction. Good. All right, I'll see you in 15 minutes.